it looks like we go. Slight delay. Back end. Trying to finish chapter 3. Finish, because 100% this chapter length. Seems like we're going to be coming to a good stopping point here, where we last left off. Yuzu, she's pretty embroiled in these, relationship struggles, and well, she needs to start sorting them out pretty. It's not looking good for her. Hang on, let me adjust my mic settings. It seemed like it's playing nice with me. Since I only go live like a couple weeks, don't do as much testing on the side as I should. Kind of comes back to bite me whenever I actually start. Hopefully I'll get that fixed up. Or I could just talk like this. That works pretty well, because, all I'm doing is pressing A or clicking the left mouse button. So, since OBS is not playing nice with me either today, I cannot edit my audio settings, maybe because you can't adjust it once you're already live or what have you. I think we're gonna have to make do with this for now. I swear, there's always an audio problem. But really, I just bring it upon myself. Think about it. Anyway, I've been kind of loitering around for way too long, so why don't we just get back into chapter 3 here, and I can just do this whenever I want to talk. Alright, now I think my mic's playing nice. Thank God for that. But yeah, where we last left off, Yuzu is, actually, hang on, I need to go back and check, because I have not booted up this game in about a week. Yeah, okay, so Neri is sick with, allegedly a cold, and Yuzu was like, oh, but you should come along anyway, you'll be fine. Something to that effect. And Neri was like, okay, you better make me lunch. And Yuzu's kind of like, crap, because we all know by now that she's not the best cook. So naturally, it's a tall order to ask her to make a lunch. A good one. Alright, yeah, well that's good to hear, but like I keep looking at the mic levels and it's just like not, it's not showing up, so I'm just like, oh god, no one can hear me. But I mess with it a little bit, I think it should be good now. But yeah, and thus the journey for Yuzu to make a serviceable lunch begins. I think she's better than she gives herself credit for, even if she has to, the path to to like an edible lunch or dessert or whatever she cooks is a long and arduous one, But yeah, how's the audio now? Just to be sure. I quote unquote fixed it.
定番で良いとは思うが、そもそも定番とは何だ。すまない。まだ何を作るかイメージが湧かないんだ。先にやってくれていいよ。
Alright, we're good then.
いえ、料理のことではなく。なら、僕への愛の告白かい？コミカド先輩、風邪を召してしまったと聞きましたけど、大丈夫ですか？
Flirty comment, just completely ignored, honestly. That's pretty funny.
もともとただの風邪だからね。すぐに良くなるさ。それなら良いのですが。スオー君にそれほど心配してもらえるなら、今度僕も弾いてみようかな。
It's the dream.
まあ、僕もだが心配ですね。
Yeah, I mean, Yuzu has mentioned multiple times now that her mom was sick. Yeah, you're right. In order to just establish a more consistent schedule, I think that would benefit. I mean, it would reduce the wait time, right? At the very least, I'm trying to get through this game faster than I did Volume 2. I think it took me like, what? A month to get through that? Like a month, actually, yeah, a month. And we're coming up on probably 3 weeks here, so actually I'm not going at the fastest pace, you know? I think every day is a little bit, it's doable. I just haven't really tried to like stream that often yet. But maybe it would work out if I did, you know? And like it would keep my investment in the game pretty high.
体温が高いから風邪はひかないと豪語していたが、もともとあまり体は強い方じゃないからね。
So, you know, I appreciate the feedback. I think I should stop talking about actually trying to do it and actually do it, you know?
そうなのですか。だが、さっきも言ったが、ただの風邪だ。うまいものを食べてぐっすり眠ればすぐ回復するさ。食べるのはネリーのお箱だろ。そうですね。失敗すると分かっていて挑戦しなければならない気持ちというのもなかなかに来るものがあるね。私も夏に葉物野菜を収穫するときはなかなか手が出ないときがあります。そういうときはどうするんだい？今の自分は自分じゃない物語の人物、例えば嵐ヶ丘のキャサリンだって思い込んで「えいや」って手をつけます。あと祖父は何でも仕事だと割り切れば楽になるって話してましたけど。
I'm inclined to disagree, honestly. I think after a certain point, like even like my hobbies end up feeling like work. Like, oh, it's like I have to put in the effort to like enjoy this thing or like keep up with this thing or watch it. And I think that's a fringe case, though. It's just not something that I can relate to.
最後に台無しな一言だが、確かにそういう割り切り方は大切なんだろうな。 ダン・アリエリーの本だと、仕事に向かうためにインセンティブはお金だけでは無理だと書いていたな。与えられるインセンティブがお金だけだとモチベーションも頭打ちになるんだってね。それは仕事と割り切るのでなく、やはり料理に傾けるのは愛情でなくてはいけない。使い古された言葉だが、そう思うよ。ネリー、人間得て増えてというものがある。さて、どうしたものかね。勝手を言っているのは分かっている。
でも
君の負担になることも重々承知している。だが僕の願いを聞き入れてはくれないだろうか。
私もコミカドさんの助けになるなら、私は
おかえりなさい。僕と萩原さんを間違えるなんてひどいじゃないか。
You know, I talked about this. I talked about at the beginning, before we really started getting into this game, how I felt like one of the central like themes behind the romance route, Nerine's romance route, was like, what did I say exactly? It was like having this instinct to like baby and protect her because like she's this, you know, she should be this like unchanging light in your life or whatever, versus accepting that like she needs to be able to grow as a person and like letting her do that. I feel like this is like a microcosm of that. Just like making her lunchbox, or that's what I would say, like, but there's something a little bit different here with how, you know, she's sick and she has chronically or historically not had the best health, so I feel like that's a little bit, you know, kind of throws a wrench into that plan.
それはそうじゃなくて、その枕はお、目ざといね。今日からネリーの風邪が良くなるまで寝泊まりして看病するんだよ。だってここは二人部屋だし、萩原さんは
Oh yeah, she straight up just kicked her roommate out. It's pretty funny.
彼女には許可をもらったよ。ネリーの体調が戻るまで僕の部屋と交換してもらった。僕のアミティエは学院を去っているからね。交渉はしやすかった。萩原さんも快く OK してくれたよ。
As far as like, okay, so what I was trying to say was like, Yuzu's like feelings, her love for Neri is kind of like selfish, you know, it's kind of like possessive because she's like, oh, I don't think she should change at all, because like she's this, she's like the one bright spot in my life, right? And just now when she was talking about like, oh, I should make the lunchbox for her, but should I baby her basically by like, you know, making sure it doesn't upset her stomach or whatever, or should I listen to her, like take her word for it, and like make her the lunch that she wants even though she's sick? And so of course you get like this like kind of contrast between like, oh, what does Yuzu want for her and what does Narine want for herself, right? And normally I would say, she should just like make the lunchbox that Narine wants, because like that shows that, you know, she's actually like taking Narine's wishes for her into account. Yeah, it's an issue with the latency. Ever since I messed with the settings, I can't change the latency back for some reason, even though I'm putting it on low. But I think your comments are showing up like 30 seconds too late. I'll just fiddle with the settings next time. I can't change it right now. It's kind of like locked in, but I'll see if I can do something about that next time. But I was saying, like, oh, this seems to be a decision as like, what does Yuzu want for Narine versus what does Narine want for herself, but also like Narine is sick, and she has like historically bad health, so in this case, like, is what Narine wants for herself the best thing to do in this situation? Like, her being sick like throws a wrench into all of those, like kind of takes that theme, and I feel like it complicates things, you know? Does that make sense? Like, I don't feel like the answer here is clear cut, even though it's a pretty like small issue in the larger scheme of this game, I think, but that's just kind of what I'm taking away from it.
Yuzuriha, 僕の心配をしてくれるのかい？なら大丈夫。18歳未満が見てはいけないものはちゃんと目の届かないところへ隠してきたからね。そうではないわ。私の看病なんて風が移って。昔は立場が逆だったが、今や僕の方が頑健な体だ。栄養を溜め込んだ僕の体に風邪菌など入り込む余地はないよ。会の者に聞いたよ。会の進捗管理や指示をこの部屋からしていたとね。君でないといけない要件はあることは確かだが、今でなくてもいい。大きなやつはそうだな、月末の合唱会くらいだが、それも後でいい案件だ。でも私のせいでみんなの手が止まるなんて。週末もみじ狩りに行くんだろう。しっかり休まないと治るものも治らない。でも分け合えば喜びは2倍に、悲しみは半分に。友達は素晴らしいものだ。そうね、私たちは親友だものね。ああ、週末は楽しくもみじ狩りとしゃれ込もうか。さて、それじゃこの枕は萩原くんのベッドへと置いて。そろそろ夕食だ。ネリーは何が食べたい？ごちそうさま。おさまつさま。って僕が作ったわけじゃないけどね。頼んで作らせてもらった僕特製のアサイーのスムージーさ。ヨーグルトジュースを混ぜたから飲みやすかっただろ。ヨーグルトヨーグルトさえ取っておけば 万事うまくいくものね。その通り。いつものやつじゃないから勘ぐってるのかい？大丈夫、睡眠薬じゃない。寝ている間にいたずらなんてしないよ。そうじゃなくて、子供みたいなことを聞くけど、これって苦い？ああ、粉末の薬はなんだか苦いイメージがあるよな。でもまあ、良薬口に逃がしってことわざも昔からあるだろう。えいやと口に放り込んで一気に水で流し込めば大丈夫さ。覚悟ができないなら鼻をつまんでやろうか。わかったわ。よし、ちゃんと飲めたご褒美に何でも一つ願いを叶えてあげよう。この薬を甘くして。
It's tall order, I think.
ならそうね。汗をかいてしまったの。背中を拭いてもらえるかしら。いいわよ。
Yeah, I just, something tells me this might be a little bit too much for Yuzu's poor heart to handle. This is, yeah, I should be fine. Not gonna get this is not gonna get taken down for this, right? I mean, we've already had our fair share of bath scenes, so it should be good. Yuzu, on the other hand, yeah, I think what I said earlier only holds even more true now.
恥ずかしいわ。さすがハーフは肌ツヤが違う。ゆずりはも同じじゃない。
Hey, I didn't get an 18 plus notification when I downloaded this game on Steam, unlike other VNs that have ended up in my library.
ハーフとクォーターの違いはあると思うけどね。さて、それじゃ始めていいかな？ええ、お願いするわ。
And no, I'm not going to make this the thumbnail. Just in case you were wondering.
看病すると決めたとき、こういうこともあると覚悟を決めただろう。すまない。強すぎたか？違うの。ただ思っていたよりも冷たかったから。続けて。ああ。 したんだい、ネリー。
I mean, I think like that's the appeal. That's a big part of the appeal of the genre. You know, like a lot of VNs. I was actually talking about this yesterday. In this one group chat I'm in, but like a pretty significant appeal of visual novels is like, you know, you, the faceless protagonist, get to date a bunch of cute girls, you know. And so, like, of course, you know, eroge is like a subgenre all its own that is immensely, well, I don't know about here in the West, but it definitely has its audience. I think that's why VNs get a bad rap, you know, because it's like it's pretty, you know, what's the word? Pretty, like it's pretty well worn and self-indulgent, I think is a good word for it. And I mean, a lot of VNs just buy into that. That's kind of why I like this series. It's like it's like one, not afraid to like actually make your protagonist very fleshed out and relatable, and like gives them a lot of like unique dialogue and good characteristics, while they're not just a blank slate. And I mean, generally, with a couple of exceptions, like what we're looking at right now, what's the word? Usually a lot of like the more mature content is implied. Now, what we're saying, I know Innocent Grey made this game, right? So they also made Kara no Shoujo. I'm not familiar with that. I also don't know if it's like published in the West or anything. So, I don't know. I mean, I do see the appeal of like visual novels, you know, being like that. But that's why I like this series. That's why I know now is not the time to talk about why I like this series being a departure, but like it's not afraid to take the risk of like, you know, having actually going on the strength of its dialogue, you know, or not just dialogue, but like the screenplay and the characterization. But on the other hand, well, H scenes do have a very certain appeal. Even if I'm not really, that's usually not what I play VNs for, but like, can't deny that it's like there.
昔一緒にお風呂に入ったことを思い出したのよ。あの時はゆずりはすごく恥ずかしがっていたわよね。
父以外の人と一緒にお風呂なんて入ったことがなかったからね。
そうだったの？
ああ、友達と一緒に入った経験なんてなかったから、何を言われるか想像して緊張していたんだよ。
あら、八代さん、お胸が小さいですわよ。って
クォーターの割に色白だったから、その辺を言われるのかってさ。変更して学校が変わるたび、髪と肌はいつもいじられたからね。
それなら私も一緒だわ。弟さんとは一緒にお風呂に入ってはいなかったの？
ネリーと入った頃はまだ小さかったからね。ある程度大きくなってからは面倒を見てやったけれど、あいつは風呂嫌いなんだ。押さえつけて入れてやっていたから、兄弟仲良くって感じではないね。
そう、私兄弟がいなかったから憧れていたのよ。
別にいいものじゃない。騒がしくはあったから退屈することはなかったけどね。この頃は 生意気に一緒に風呂に入るのを嫌がるんだよ。
Yeah, I agree. Like, if that's your main appeal, like, okay, you know what you're getting, and like, you know, if like it isn't eroge, then like the writing and like the writing of the story usually takes a back seat, you know? I think that's why games like, I mean, there are like some exceptions. I think like Katawa Shoujo is really good. I haven't played all the routes yet, and like I have issue with some of the writing, but I think overall like it like warranted that level of popularity back in what, like 2013 when it came out. I think it warranted that. Same with like Doki Doki, while it's not like it's definitely meant to be a deconstruction of visual novels, also like shows that it's definitely, there's still a lot of like potential in the genre that hasn't really been explored, because Doki Doki is like a meta visual novel, right? It plays with the idea of you know, that you can choose your fate or go back and erase everything with a save, you know? And then there's games like this, I mean, that are more the exception than the norm, unfortunately. Like, I do kind of, you know, just look at the amount of attention that your average visual novel gets on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. I think the proof is in the numbers itself. So I'm with you on that, and that's why I will tell everyone to play this game, which is also not perfect and takes forever to get translated, but you gotta take what you can get, you know? All you can hope is that like more people will take the lead, take their lead.
可愛いじゃない。
ま、成長を感じられて姉冥利に尽きるがね。おかゆいところはございませんか、お嬢様。
そうね。それじゃあ脇の方をお願いできるかしら。
落ち着け、私。少し上の方も拭かせてもらうよ。
ええ。どうしたの、ゆずりは。もうおしまい？
いや、もうすぐ終わるよ。
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal for one of them.
時間をかけてしまいすまないね。風邪をひいているのに長々と肌をさらさせてしまって。
平気よ。ずいぶんと汗をかいていたみたいだから気持ちいいわ。
こうして拭いているとわかるが、だいぶ熱も引いてきたようだ。よかったよ。
ゆずりはのおかげよ。
あまり長引くようならお守りでも作ろうかと考えていたけどね。
おっぴらにはできないけれど、ゆずりはが作ったものなら欲しいわね。
そうかい？幸運が続くってことだからいいと思ったんだよな。西洋じゃ古くから伝わる由緒正しいお守りだ。
そんなものがあるの？
ああ、まずはウサギの足を失敬してきて。
やめて。
スオウくんや八重垣くんに聞かれたら怒られそうな話題だよな。
ダメよ。可愛いのだからそんな想像してはダメ。
冗談だよ。よし、これで背中は拭けた。あとはゆっくり寝るだけだな。
そうね。あ、そうだわ。ご褒美ついでにもう一つお願いを聞いてほしいの。
あ、それじゃあ何の本を読もうか。
As we all know.
4月になってから節子の病気はいくらかずつ回復期に近づき出しているように見えた。
We're done, we got through it. Normally I mean, you know, I am kind of inclined to believe that that scene was kind of like cheap, but you know, c'est la vie is as the people say.
そしてそれがいかにも父としていればいるほどその回復へのもどかしいような一歩一歩はかえって何か確実なもののように思われ、話の筋的に病人に聞かせるものじゃなかったかな。もう眠りそうかい？
いいえ、まだ平気よ。
それじゃもう少し続けようかね。そんなある日の午後のこと、私が行くとちょうど父は外出していて節子は一人で病室にいた。その日は大変気分も良さそうで、いつもほとんど着たきりの寝巻きを珍しく青いブラウスに着替えていた。私はそういう姿を見るとどうしても彼女を庭へ引っ張り出そうとした。
ねえ、ゆずりは。
なんだい？
子供のようなことを言うのだけど、
本日2度目だな。
で、握ってもらってもいい？
君が言わなければ僕から言い出していたところだよ。冷えていて気持ちいいだろう。僕は体温が低いのが自慢なんだ。
Alright, that's the kind of content that would get me reported. So, rip my YouTube channel, I guess.
ゆずりは、とても安心するわ。
Way too inappropriate.
眠るまで手を握っておくよ。
ありがとう、ゆずりは。
代わってあげられたらいいのに。
Given their like their color schemes, like Yuzu's hair color and Narine's, it's a very apt and possibly even on the nose comparison. I do appreciate it though.
おやすみ、エリー。
helps tie everything in. But yeah, an issue like other issues about that scene aside, I think character-wise what we learned there is like Narine is definitely willing to like overwork herself, especially like to her own detriment, and like put the well-being of others over her own, which is something that we've already seen with Yuzu, but yeah, I think what Yuzu's alluded to like an accident before, like Narine used to be like the one leading me along before, you know, something happened. So there's obviously some like pivotal moment that we will probably get into flashback at some point. But yeah, as far as Narine's tendency to put other people's health over her own and well-being over her own, you know, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite her or us at the end or later on in the story.
さあ皆さん、忘れ物はないかしら？
率先してリーダーシップを取るネリーか。久しぶりだな。形にはなったか。
ゆずりは、ぼーっとしていないで。桜木さんから開会の言葉があるそうよ。
楽しそうで何よりだ。
I know I said this already, but sometimes I do. Would be nice to live in a place that actually has 4 seasons. You know, here the leaves fall off. The leaves fall off, change color, and fall off within like a week. Sometimes it feels like not really much of an opportunity to appreciate. All which I would probably enjoy if I lived somewhere else. You know. Can't really complain though, the weather here is usually good all year.
どうしたの白羽さん？
そこの茂みに何か動物がいるみたいで。それはタヌキだね。いえ、イタチですよ。
聞いたことがあるわ。この森は野生動物が多く住んでいるのだって。稀に学院へ来て餌付けされた話を耳にしたことがあるもの。
I mean, the school is like in the middle of a forest, basically, so they kind of get the best of it. The whole fall leaf changing color thing, I mean. That's probably like the lone upside of being that isolated. Don't know if it outweighs the downsides though.
そんな面白い話がペットにしてたとか？その動物って何です？
確かキツネだとか鹿だとか。
どっちも可愛い。嘘じゃなくて本当に出てきたらいいのにね。
Yeah, that's a good point. What, people actually have to like shovel their driveways in the winter and you know, have power get locked inside because of a blizzard and what have you. That's also something you have to think about if you live in anywhere else, really. I'm just thinking about the upsides without really thinking of, you know, all the bad stuff that would come with it.
音の正体はこれだよ、これ。もう、いちごさん騙したのね。スオちゃんから一本取ったってチドリンやエリカちゃんに自慢できるよ。もう本当にやめてね。私驚くのって苦手なの。胸がドキドキして。
You know, Ichigo and Rengo kind of remind me of, I'm not like super familiar with this series, so I don't know how accurate this would be, but they kind of remind me of Ami and Mami from the Idol Master. Because like they have like these very unique pet names for everyone, like even if they kind of know them just kind of as an acquaintance or a friend or whatever. And of course the whole being identical twins thing probably has a lot to do with it.
分かったよ。嫌な思いをするいたずらは私としても不本意ってやつだしね。それじゃ今度はスオちゃんの左右の靴の紐を縛り合って。それって軍隊でやるいたずらよね。
It's hardcore. Or middle school, really. Same thing.
ま、彼女もまだ少女なのだしな。
何が少女なの？
僕のことさ。秋のもみじの中を行く可憐な少女といった風情だろ。
そうね。でもくるくる回るのはよした方がいいと思うわ。
ん？どうしてだい？
せっかく作ったお弁当が台無しになってしまうでしょ。
大丈夫だよな。
一回だけだからひどくなってないわよ。高崎さんのようなオディールのグランフェッテを踊ってなければね。
あんなに回ったらお弁当の中身がバターになってしまうよ。
それは困るわ。楽しみにしているのですもの。
Also, from a much more in-game comparison, there was that scene at the in Volume 2 where Erika, Chidori, and a few other people who stayed behind for the summer went out to the lake, right? And Erika and Chidori kind of had their moment. At the time I was like, oh, you know, they're just gonna start fighting again 10 minutes later, and that's basically what they did. But that was, I think, the first time I really felt like they were making some progress in their relationship. You know, because up till that point they just could not stand each other, and any sense of even mutual respect or being able to get along felt really temporary. So I wonder if we'll see something some similar breakthrough or something here. I don't know if I made the comparison at the time, but also in Volume 1 it's always even in the first volume it seems like there's these little mini field trips they go on, and that's kind of this, you know, this character has a revelation or there's a turning point in the relationship. I know Suo did something similar with Dahlia, right, in Volume 1, but that one was weird because Suo was like Suo felt off because Suo was not really like too hot on Dahlia Sensei at the time, and still isn't. Even now, I still think about that scene, and I'm like, what was there that I was missing? You know, I feel like I should go back and play it again.
森深いからだろうか。この辺りは秋が深く感じるね。
場所柄気温が低いのでしょうか。他よりも季節が移ろっているように感じますね。
そういえば秋をめでるのは久しぶりなのか。
ゆずりは先輩。
おっと。
Yeah, same. I felt that.
栗取れましたよ。ほら。
ほう、見事な栗じゃないか。この辺りに生えているのかい？
はい、ちょっと奥に行ったらたくさん栗の木がありましたよ。
それは魅力的だ。ぜひ収穫しないとね。それじゃ栗拾いに向かいたいからそろそろ話してはくれないか？
栗拾いをゲームにしたらどうですか？
Also, you know, I've talked about how like this like dynamic between Yuzu and the twins is like super like unclear to me. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know, twin shenanigans be like that, I guess. Like that definitely is something that keeps me, you know, like keeps me playing though. It's like, what the heck is what's going on? Like, how much have they talked? How much have like the twins talked about this, if at all? You know, like why is Ichigo the really touchy one when Ringo was the one who like took her place in the chapel and blah 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 blah, etc. etc.
誰が一番多く取れるか競うんですよ。それで多く取った人は好きなお弁当を自分のと交換できるとかどうですかね？
例えば僕のお弁当とスオ君のと交換できるといった風にだね。
Yep, exactly. That's also why I'm like, like something going on there, and I want to know what it is.
せっかく競うならゲームにしたら面白いかなって。
面白そう。私やってみたいわ。お友達と一緒にゲーム。
みんながいいなら構わないが。
それじゃペア戦はどう？二人で協力してやった方が白熱しそうだし。
そうね。お友達同士で競うのは楽しそうだわ。
それじゃあ私的にはゆずりは先輩と組むのを希望します。
それじゃあ私は白羽さんと組みたいわ。おしゃべりしたいことたくさんあるの。私と組んでもらえるのですか？ええ。夢みたい。組んでもらえる。
It's it's a wide world out there, Suo. She still has so much more left to experience. On the other hand, the flip side is, you know, when the teachers like pick a partner and you're like everyone goes and, you know, gets off in pairs and you're clearly the one left out. I imagine she would catastrophicize. Is that a word? I don't know about that scenario a million times over because that's the kind of person she is. So, dream come true for her, I guess.
露骨なアプローチは面倒なことになるな。
Speaking of people who are potentially left out,
確かにペア性は白熱しそうで面白そうだ。了承しよう。だが早い者勝ちだと差が出すぎてしまう。
feet pair? I don't quite follow, sorry. You're gonna have to jog my memory.
ここはフェアにするため9時にしたいと思うが、桜木くん構わないかな。
Rip Suo.
M、みんな納得してくれたようだね。それでは楽しいくじ引きを始めるとしよう。
Poor Suo's dreams were crushed. In the span of about 5 seconds. Ooh, new background. I do appreciate that. Looks really nice, honestly. Was that part of the alternate route? Because I think I've seen like the CG of that, but I don't remember actually like reading through it. Which is, of course, a reminder that I did not play the alternate route in Volume 1, despite meaning to get around to it.
確かあれがカシオペア座だったかな。
Also, as far as this game goes and this scene right here, I really like this. It's like you're having fun with like a group of people and suddenly like for one reason or another you get isolated and you're reminded of the painful weight of your own existence, like some existential crisis basically. Well, me being the kind of person to overthink every social situation ever, I'm just like, yeah, kind of like that's a very like that. I relate to this scenario. Yeah, I didn't play the alternate route. Maybe one day. I'm thinking as far as like alternate playthroughs go, and like as far as just for completion's sake, maybe when like maybe it'll be like a more casual stream setting where I'm like not going for the, you know, going for the true ending, but maybe like I'll sit down one day and like just try to get through as much of it as possible, and it just being a more, I mean, this is the definition of a casual playthrough, because you know how sweaty can you be when you play a visual novel, right? Don't answer that, but you know what I mean. But like even more so, like I'm not like cutting it off like in a chapter format or like being super strict about the time, just like, you know, being more laid back about it, just for completion's sake, you know. Can't really be the source of all information on this game on YouTube if I don't play through like at least most of the routes, you feel?
冗談じゃないぞ。ここなら取り放題じゃないか。
はいです。ここなら私としても一番になれると思うのですよ。
優勝商品があまり大したものではないから適当でいいと思うよ。
Ichigo will remember that, definitely.
いえ、料理部で3回誰でもペアを組める件は魅力的ですよ。
結局優勝者がお弁当を選び放題はなくなったしな。公開処刑だったな。
はい。
いや、こんなに見事な栗の木を見つけたのは我々だけだろうってね。優勝は間違いなしだ。
さあ、早く始めましょう。急がないと他の人に取られてしまうですよ。
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised though, because, you know, what fun would it be if Yuzu got paired up with someone? Well, she has enough friends. She has enough good relationships with everyone else in this game where it would definitely be a treat to see her paired off with like Erika or Chidori or something, or Tsuo, which my totally unbiased self would love to see, but maybe we'll get something here. If nothing more than, you know, they're gonna stop dancing around each other or what have you.
この方角を選んだのは僕たちしかいなかっただろう。
しかしですね、敵はうっかり者の姉だけではなく、切れ者のスオちゃんもいるのです。油断はできませんよ。
よほど誰かとペアを組みたいと見えるね。バカか、私は。
Yeah, I wonder why. not a zero IQ moment right there, Yuzu.
はい、絶対負けられないですよ。
そうだね。僕も和菓子を独占するために頑張るとしよう。さすがに軍手なしじゃ手で剥くのは無理か。
大丈夫ですか？出ていませんか？
数が数だからね。手早く剥く方法をいろいろ模索してみているのだけど。
やっぱり基本に忠実が一番です。こうですよ、八代先輩。
見事だ。
おばあちゃん直伝ですからね。先人の知恵ですよ。
基本に勝るものはないか。以前話してくれた料理教室を開いている方だね。
はい、父や母は買い付けで日本より外国にいる方が長いですから、祖母に教わることが多かったのです。
そうだったのか。海外じゃないが僕も似たようなものかな。
そうなのですか？
祖父母に預けられていたわけではないが、 母は体が弱く、父は転勤族で忙しい。あまり家族には恵まれなかったのかな。すまない。やはり僕の事情とリンゴくんでは違うな。ご両親は何をなさっているんだい？
宝石商です。
そろそろ戻らないとな。リンゴくんは
わかりました。
It's a useful bit of foreshadowing, not just for, I mean, we kind of know what's gonna happen here, but going forward. Also, I appreciate the little character background that we just got. You know, I just kind of made the connection when Yuzu was talking about it. Now, not having like a really like quote-unquote normal or happy home life or childhood kind of makes sense why she would rely on like Narine as much as she did. The connection there is pretty, you know, not super hard to make. Bit of a pickle. Doesn't seem like she can walk.
距離がある上、リンゴくんとでは慎重さで無理だ。森深いところまで来ていたしな。迷っていなければいいぞ。
Yeah, what? If you want to quickly summarize, Suo had like a really terrible stepmom. Erica had like that thing going on with her sisters. Chidori was traumatized by, you know, her kohai who looked up to her. Narine has something going on, you know, it seems like she was hospitalized for some reason, and Yuzu had a we don't know that yet, perpetually sick mom and a dad who was never home. So yeah, everyone's got it pretty rough in this game, honestly, to say the least. Oh yeah, being stuck alone in the forest at night, not being able to walk, not a very great proposition. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, like Mayuri, because so much of Volume 1 was Suo like overcoming her own anxiety, and there was definitely a lack of like development in the relationships between her and her two amity partners until like what chapter, like halfway through. So as a result, Mayuri is still so much of a mystery. makes the wait for volume 4 that much more agonizing. Seriously. Like how much can we trust her? Since we spent so much more time now thinking about dealing with like, oh, you know, dealing with the fact that she just up and left. And much more time doing that than like seeing her actually in game, you know?
さすがに笑えなくなってきた。そう思っただけだったんだがね。さらに雲間も怪しい。
Man, things turn sour for her really fast.
Aki とはいえ、夜は冷えるってのに、雨とかシャレにならないぞ。
Yeah, you think we're setting up for a future what's the word? Tackling of the seventh mystery? We have to go through all of them at some point, you know? I think we have more pressing matters to deal with at hand right now. At hand right now, it's redundant, you know what I mean?
Ugagi を破って足首に巻いたら歩けるようになるか。力には自信があるが、さすがに素手で上着なんて破れないよな。ダメだ。想像したらセクシーすぎて笑ってしまう。
It's one way to put it.
ようやく八重垣くんの気持ちが分かったよ。こんなに心細いと思うなんてね。こんな私をなぜ彼女たちは求めていたのだろう。彼女たちは私が同性愛者だとは知らない。メリー、
You know, that's a pretty interesting point. Honestly. Like, she's, well, because she thinks so little of herself, Yuzu is hypothesizing that, like, she only gets so much admiration because, like, these people need, like, someone to like, look up to and admire, and their feelings are more like admiration and, like, in line with this image that she, you know, like, this admittedly, like, kind of masculine image that she projects. And yet she's saying that, like, oh, there's still a lot of homophobia running around here, so, like, she's afraid that, like, you know, their feelings aren't really, like, love, but more so admiration. It's really, honestly, pretty messed up. Like, thinking about that and, like, knowing that, like, she's talking about it right now, like, it is kind of like a real thing. Yeah, she's got it pretty, you know, pretty rough. Like, the issue of Narite notwithstanding, like, that's a whole another issue entirely, of course.
助けてくれネリ幼い頃のように困ったら靴のかかとを
ゆずりは聞こえてたら答えて。ゆずりは
ネリネリ
ゆずりは
やっぱり来てくれたんだねネリね
Alright, now we're getting into it. Now is, like, probably the best time, because Yuzu was really having that. When you're alone in the dark and you feel like that's literally all you can do because she couldn't move, I guess that's the only thing you're left with is you and your thoughts, so now's the best time for it. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I don't know if there's some like I don't know if they're like a motif, you know, or there's like there's some like universal symbolic meaning behind them.
大丈夫。痛くないよ。私はコミカドネリネ。知らないかもだから、もう一度自己紹介。
Have to appreciate how Nerine basically sounds the same.
八代ゆずりは。正しい握手ができないと一人前って認められないってお父さんが言ってたよ。私の目を見てしっかり握手するの。八代ゆずりは。よろしくコミカドさん。ネリネでいいよ、ゆずりはちゃん。ネリネちゃん。
Classic imagery, have to point it out. Love at first sight, you could probably say. Yeah, now my poor heart can't take this take this shot. If I can step away from like picking apart everyone's intentions and dialogue for a second and just enjoy this, I hope they end up together. Well, it's the red string of fate, right? Very, very common image you see in like romance, like manga and what have you. That two characters, whenever are connected by fate, that their destinies are intertwined for better or for worse.
起きたのね。まだ眠っていてもいいのに。
肩を貸してくれ。歩けるよ。
ダメよ。今は平気かもしれないけど、歩いたら後でひどくなるかもしれないわ。だからダメ。
重いだろ。
全然。ゆずり葉はもっと食べた方がいいわ。軽すぎて心配になるくらいよ。
よく見つけられたね。
大体の方角はリンゴさんから聞いていたから。ずっと走り通しだったから休んでもらったの。これ以上走ったら死んでしまうほどだったのよ。残念だけれど栗は持ってこられなかったわ。
構わない。口の方が貴重だ。
今日は甘えたがりね。
そうかな。
そうよ。だって私のことをレリネちゃんって。
そんなこと言った覚えは。
しっかり聞いたわよ。レリネちゃんって。前は私のことをそう呼んでいたわよね。
What? I gotta ask what game that is, honestly. Seems pretty messed up, to be honest. I mean, horror's not my thing, but you definitely piqued my interest with that description.
A だ名で呼んだ方が親密な気がしたなんて。
私はちゃん付けも好きだったのよ。ゆずりはちゃん。
勘弁してくれ。
以前にもこんなことがあったわ。森の中で。あれは遠足だったかしら。ゆずり葉が怪我をして水筒の水で膝小僧を洗ったの。
Oh, so it was like Red String of Fate, but in a horror setting, is what I understand. If I'm getting that right.
ジュースは飲んではいけないって言われてたからお水だったのよね。本当は残念だったけど、でもそのおかげでゆずり葉の怪我を癒せてよかった。それで肩を貸して歩き出そうとしたら痛くてゆずり葉が泣き出して、その時もこうして背負ったのよ。覚えている？ まだ私ゆずりはを背負えるわ。頼りになるでしょ。
So wait, was it a literal string? It kind of, the line there is kind of blurred.
最高に頼れる親友だよ。
Yes, the classic. She was like, oh, I need to move on, right? Like, literally in the last scene, she was like, I need to, like, it would be better for me, or whatever. And, like, she is kind of, like, forced to confront the fact that right now, that would probably not be possible for her. Yeah. But, I mean, I see that and I'm just like, wow, I felt that, you know? Like, I can't like deny that that is emotionally powerful, I think. So, you know, I really like when a game or like a piece of media or a piece of writing or whatever does that, because it's like, oh, what's the best way to say it, I think? I mean, yeah, you could argue like, oh, it means the narrator is unreliable, you can't trust what they say, but I think it's more like, oh, they're just, you know, they know what's best for them, but like they're too controlled by their emotions to really follow through with it, which I think is a very like real and like human quality. So, you know, good stuff. I really like this scene from If You Could Not Already Tell.
どうしようもなくコミカドネリリが好き
よかった。みんな来てくれたわよ。
Oh, that is yeah, that is some horror stuff there, what you're describing.
オズの魔法使いという童話がある。魔法使いへ会うためエメラルドの町へと急ぐドロシーたちの耳に恐ろしい方向が聞こえてきた。猛々しい方向の主はライオン。かかしをブリキをなぎ倒し、ドロシーの飼い犬トトを噛み殺そうとする。ドロシーは我が身を顧みずトトを救い、ライオンの鼻先をピシャリと叩いた。勇敢なドロシーへライオンは自分が臆病者だということ、小さい犬が向かってきたことで驚き、噛み殺そうとしたのだと告げる。ライオンは己の臆病さに苦悩し、ドロシーたちへ同行を願う。オズへ己の臆病さを消してもらいたいがために。私にとっての重要なキャラクター、3人目の仲間、臆病ライオン。この章でドロシーは言う。あなたに脅されちゃうなんて、私に言わせれば他の野獣たちの方があなたより臆病だわと。しかしだからといって僕は勇敢な気持ちにはなれない。 自分が臆病だって自分が知っている限り僕は不幸せなんだとライオンは告げた。そう、大勢の者から勇敢だと称えられていても、本人が得心していなければそれは確かな不幸なのだ。これから始まる物語は自分の気持ちを偽り続ける臆病ライオンのお話。
It's a good point, honestly. Like, it seems like it's pretty, that description is pretty accurate to Yuzu herself, even though she compares Narine, like Narine is like the obvious point of comparison here from Yuzu's point of view.
だいぶ寒くなってきたな。
Yeah, I mean, like, Yuzu compares herself to the Tin Man, right, who does not have a heart. I think that is also pretty indicative of how she sees herself, but more so, like that little monologue definitely tells us that we're going to learn a lot about, like, a little bit. We're probably going to, like, learn a bit more about Narine in this upcoming chapter 4, hopefully. But yeah, that is a lot to like, that is a lot to swallow, I think, that last scene, because, you know, I really like it too, just as I've said before, but also because, like, it kind of just affirms this this idea that Yuzu is kind of just still a scared little kid, and she is basically making it up as she goes along, and no one's been able to see through her veneer so far, except for Narine, who is a little bit of a mystery herself, you know. Yeah, I mean, Yuzu definitely takes it a bit far with the self-deprecating jokes, but it's her self-worth is definitely tied to like, her feelings for Narine, and how, like, she basically hates herself for it, you know. So I think so long as that goes unresolved, then yeah, I mean, that's not something that's going to change. I guess that's another, like, kind of issue with this, or, like, overarching theme with this romance route. Narine is, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what to say other than that, you know. But man, just from an aesthetic standpoint, that last scene was really good. That kind of thing, like, I'll be thinking about that for a while, you know. How, like, and I also think, like, just from, like, a storytelling standpoint, like, there are some very obvious similarities between, like, oh, this is, like, the first time we met. So despite all of her, like, preaching that Yuzu does, how much, like, their relationship probably has not changed that much in the interim, because she's still, like at the end of the day, she still relies on Narine a lot for, like, that like, affirmation that she's doing a good job, despite how much she herself thinks otherwise, you know. But yeah, like, things are progressing along pretty nicely, and I think it's pretty obvious, like, something has to change. I mean, you know, there's only so many chapters in the game that something will, but we're, like, getting to a pretty good, I think, like, breaking point. I think the drama is, like, Yuzu is not going to be able to keep this to herself forever, you know. But yeah, since we are on chapter 4 now, that is where I'm going to stop for today. I guess we're gonna, like, I'm kind of glad that we got a relatively short chapter 3 after that monster of a chapter 2. What do you mean the first scene, like the opening scene? That is something I did talk about that, like, when Ringo makes her confession in the church. But I don't know, maybe you have, like, something else, just, like, some like, a different perspective on that. I would whatchamacallit, be interested. Obviously, I'm always down to hear everyone else's thoughts on that. Otherwise, I'd just be talking to myself, you know? And I'm just, like, it's just my interpretation at the end of the day. But I'm definitely looking forward to future chapters, you know? Yeah, I'm going to, like you said, you said earlier, being able to like do a more regular, like frequent streaming, I think would be beneficial for everyone, and also just like help me like maintain my interest in this game. Not just the interest, but also just like the motivation to like have a regular upload schedule, blah blah blah. So yeah, we're getting into some pretty interesting territory here. And honestly, I can't wait. So, chapter 4 is coming up pretty soon. Maybe I'll actually keep my word this time and stream tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. And thanks for tuning in, as always. And I'll catch you all next time. Peace out.